Friday morning, it's Tom and Andrew, and yesterday, a year to the day of Black Wednesday, as it was known. As you know by now, you've seen the title, you've seen the video already this morning. Multiple releases coming out of WWE. It never gets easier, this bit, does it, Andrew?
Never ever. It's heartbreaking. In the midst of a pandemic as well, people losing their jobs, it's just not nice to see, especially people that are so talented as well. It's just, like you said, it's hard. It's really, really hard.
Well, we're gonna cut the headlines. We're gonna get straight into the stories today. We have updates on multiple released WWE Superstars. So by now you will know, following on from our previous video, that WWE has come to terms with the release of multiple stars within the company. Those stars including Samoa Joe, Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, Chelsea Green, Mickie James. Also added to that list, we've seen Bo Dallas, Tucker, Kalisto, and Mojo Rawley. Is this the end of the names to be released? At this point, we don't quite know, but we will keep you updated throughout the day on Cultaholic.com. Let's talk about Bo Dallas for just a second. Been with the company for a good long time, one of the earlier NXT champions, a guy that we haven't seen on TV since 2019, but Fightful Select have given us some details on his status with the company before his release, haven't they, Andrew?
They have, yeah. So Fightful Select says that Bo Dallas had been backstage at some recent episodes of WWE SmackDown, but we'd been told he'd not figured into any creative plans whatsoever. He'd also started looking into additional business ventures. He was at WrestleMania festivities as of Friday and participated in a test match for a couple of minutes while WWE tested out their setup. So. It's
someone. So it's obviously he's been around and he's a trusted pair of hands, but just had nothing on TV. There were rumors as well circulating that he was involved with WrestleMania because there was talk of, hey, that's not Bray Wyatt, that's Bo Wyatt dressed as the Fiend. Rumor killer. It wasn't. Nothing to do with him. And Bo Dallas now away from the company now. It is a year since Black Wednesday, April the 15th, 2020, where multiple WWE roster members, plus many people behind the scenes, were let go from the company. And a few of those who were let go have spoken out to give a little bit of hope and send some good wishes to those released this year, including Matt Cardona, former Zack Ryder from WWE. He put out onto Twitter, "I was literally making a post about how this past year has been a blessing in disguise as the news of these releases broke. You will all be fine. Work your asses off. Create your own opportunities. I love you, Chelsea Green. You are an effing star." So much love for Chelsea Green, who did not have the dream run in WWE that we thought she would have, breaking her wrist in her first match on SmackDown. We send the best to her. Heath on Twitter, formerly Heath Slater, again, one of those that got let go last year. He made a t-shirt out of it, which is nice. He says, "I know it sucks. I was there 1 year ago today, but don't worry. Keep your head up and keep moving forward. You are all so talented." Renee Paquette gobsmacked that WWE couldn't find a use for Samoa Joe. Also shocked by the release of Billie Kay and Mickie James, saying, "I don't think we've seen someone able to connect with the crowd with limited TV time the way we have with Billie Kay. And Mickie James is a bona fide Hall of Famer. They'll both bring so much to the table wherever they land." Kayla Braxton, current host of Talking Smack on WWE, has tweeted, "Heartbreaking day. The female locker room will not be the same without the beautiful, funny, outgoing, sweet, encouraging, I can go on and on about Billie Kay. Girl, we miss you terribly." Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer has added a little caveat of detail to the situation for these wrestlers, hasn't he, Andrew?
He has. So Dave Meltzer said, "Everyone WWE released today can't sign anywhere until July 14th.
Now, if you look at your calendar, Andrew, have you got a calendar in front of you?
I certainly can have on my computer telephone.
Load up July 14th.
It's coming.
2021.
July 14th is there.
What day is that on?
That is a Wednesday. Do you know what I was thinking, Tom? It's going to be a summer spectacular, this, isn't it? It's going to be a summer signing spectacular when July 14th comes round. It's going to be one heck of an episode of a certain wrestling show, that's for certain.
You know how WWE just made $250,000 selling gifts of The Undertaker?
Yep.
Can we sell gifts of Cody cupping his ear? Because I feel like today is the day to make the money off of that.
Really is.
July 14th, we're just putting that out there. We go into a little bit more detail about some of the impact this is going to have and how this is going to this is going to go forward for those guys released. On the Cultaholic News podcast, I'm joined by editor-in-chief from Cultaholic.com, Mitch Wadden, who gives us some more details on that. If you download the news podcast this morning, we'll speak more about it there. An update this morning on Aleister Black, and he's fine, by the way. I realise, saying, let's get an update on Aleister Black on a day like this. He's fine. In fact, He's more than fine. What's the latest with Aleister Black, Andrew?
Yes, so PW Insider reports that WWE has been filming promos this week ahead of Black's return to TV. Black hasn't been seen since being drafted to SmackDown last year, and his disappearance from WWE TV came around the time when his real-life wife, Zelina Vega, was released. The promos are said to be about Black's childhood, so it looks like they're going to add some extra layers to his character. Black was one of the names that Paul Heyman was pushing when he was the executive director of Raw, but that push was halted when Heyman was relieved of his duties. So, based on the latest reporting, it looks like WWE will make an effort to push him, at least for the short term, but fingers crossed it's going to be for the long term as well.
Oh, bring it on. A long push for Aleister Black would be amazing. We don't know when these promos are going out. If they're filming them now, chances are they're going to be pretty imminent. Wouldn't be shocked if we see one of them tonight on SmackDown. But delighted to hear that Aleister Black could be back on our screens very, very soon. A big, big miss. Also delighted to hear this morning the news about genuinely one of my favourite commentators in wrestling. And he is divisive. Like, his style very much has divided people. You either love him or hate him. He is the Marmite. You could call him the Mama Marmite of wrestling. Mauro Ranallo making a return to wrestling. So this was broken by Mark Raimondi of ESPN. He says Mauro Ranallo will be joining the commentary team for Impact Wrestling Rebellion. And he is going to call the champion versus champion match with Impact World Champion Rich Swann against AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. Where do you stand on Mauro Ranallo, Andrew?
Tom, I love him so much.
Good answer.
He has got unmatched enthusiasm for anything that he does. Like, the way he calls matches bring more excitement to what you are watching on screen. And I love him. I love him so much.
A real miss from his days in NXT. He was the lead voice of that show until August of last year. And he came off social media altogether, long since gone. And I feel bad saying this, but you know what? Matt Stryker and D'Lo Brown, I feel like could take a few notes from what Mauro's going to bring. I love that Matt and D'Lo are the voices of Impact, but there's been quite a few occasions where it's just jarred a little bit.
Yeah.
So Mauro Ranallo being added to that match, and it adds a bit of gravitas to that match as well.
It really does.
Have you thought much about it? Because I think with everything going on in wrestling, it sounds really bad to say, but the Impact World title and the AEW World title possibly combining at Rebellion next Sunday. What do you reckon? Is this a shoo-in for Omega? Is this a shoo-in for him?
That's a good question. That is a very good question, because now you said that, I actually can't see. It doesn't seem clear where this one's going to go. That's for sure. No. It's very much like, ooh, it's on the fence. Which way is it gonna go? I mean, Omega probably gonna use some dirty shenanigans to get himself a win there. But what do you reckon? What are you feeling about this?
I can't help but feel that Kenny Omega is about to become a double champion in wrestling. As much as I like Rich Swann, I feel like they're going to have Kenny walk out on AEW with the Impact World title over one shoulder and the AEW belt on the other. I think that's the visual that we're going for. And I think, you know what? AEW smashing 1 million viewers on Wednesday night. I think Impact could do much worse than have that belt on the shoulder of a chap walking out onto a TV show that averages 1 million viewers. Yeah, no, that's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout. But Mauro Ranallo to be calling that match. Get the cat excited. We'll have more throughout the day on the releases from WWE. When we know more about it, you'll get the info first at cultaholic.com. Have a great weekend. Love you. Bye.